the jacket that I had on the last time I ever went snowboarding got covered in blood. Hello and welcome to another video. Yay! I'm in the pass, going over the Cascade Mountain Range, Mount Hood, more specifically, at some point here. So this made me think about my life in the snow zone, which my life in the snow zone, I've been quite a bit. So it starts off at a ridiculously young age. I mean, like 2 or 3 years old. My dad worked at Mount Hood, Timberline Lodge. He drove the snow cap plow things, and I remember actually riding in those as a super young kid. Now, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but my parents were divorced by the time I was 5. So, and this was when my parents were together. So I know it was before I was 5. I was skiing. I remember wearing skis. I remember heading down hills. So now, fast forward, my mom would take me skiing like maybe once a year. I was never that good. Like, I'd go once a year, and you know, by the time the day's done, I'm just starting to get the hang of it, and then that's it. So that was pretty much like all the way until I was probably, I think I was about 23 or something like that. And I had friends that snowboarded. I wanted to do it, so I rented a snowboard and I went up with some friends and hated it. Like, literally just got on the board and sat on it and like rode down to the end of the nobody told me anything. I didn't ask. It was super horrible. And just, you know, going through the whole like getting the equipment and all that stuff was just a giant hassle. Fast forward to when I was maybe about 26, I think, and I had money and I really wanted to get into snowboarding. I just bought everything I needed for the first time in my life. Never had I had like equipment. It was always about renting the equipment. Maybe I had a jacket that was decent, but never had, you know, the equipment. I went and I bought everything. I think I got a pass, maybe. But I started going, and I went a bunch. I went to Whistler. That was freaking amazing. I went to a bunch of times at Hood. I've been to Bachelor. I did that pretty much more as trips with my mom over the holidays. Like, hey, let's do a little family thing, you know. And let's go skiing for the, you know, holidays or whatever type of thing, you know. So, and we'd rent. So I bought all this stuff, and then it was just like I do it, and I learned, and I went with some friends. My buddy Keith, he literally spent like a whole day like just trying to teach me, or teaching me, not trying, he taught me. And you know, I was doing it, and I did it a bunch, and I was having a lot of fun with it. And then I got busted and went to prison, and there was no snowboarding in prison. So I got out, and had all my gear. It was dated, but it was all like 8 years old or whatever, but I think I like needed a jacket or something. Yeah, I did need a jacket because my jacket got thrown away because literally the last time I went snowboarding before I got busted, which this was months and months and months before I got busted, but I got busted like at the end of summer, right? So, the jacket that I had on the last time I ever went snowboarding got covered in blood. Like I got this whole scar above my eye. Been more than one thing, but I was going down this mountain, Mount Hood Meadows. So if you're on this, like, if you're going down the mountain and you're kind of all the way over to the right side of the mountain, there's this spot where it's kind of like the lower skill level mountains or hills are over there, right? But it's like one of those things where if you don't get enough speed, you can't make it up over this next thing, right? And that happens all the time. There's people just walking. So I'm like, I know the mountain, so I'm just like hauling balls, and somebody's going like this, and then somebody yells their name, and they just turn right in front of me. And I just go across the back of their skis. My face right here hits the back of their head, knocks me out. I end up being taken in an ambulance to Gresham. My car's left up in the parking lot of Mount Hood Meadows. The jackasses in the parking lot put a bunch of stickers all over my car, like no parking, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I got fucking knocked out and sent to the fucking hospital in an ambulance. So I got like stitches and shit, and the coat that I had on was totally covered in blood. So that jacket was thrown away. So when I got out of prison, I needed to buy a jacket. But then I started snowboarding, and I was snowboarding like every season. One season, I bought a pass and went up a ton. I had an employee, and she was a snowboard fanatic, and I went up with her a bunch. And I had a friend that I had for years, and he was a snowboard fanatic. And we went up a bunch. We went up this one day, and it was just this killer powder day. And there was just this one jump, and we just kept hitting that jump all day long. It was so much fun. And I snowboarded really regularly all the way until I bought my house. And when I bought my house, I never snowboarded again. That was about 5 or 6 seasons ago. And basically, the house sucked me dry. Like, I used to whitewater kayak and snowboard and ride my bike all over the place all the time. And then I bought that house. And I had a fucking huge mortgage and all this work to do to get the house up to a point where I could sell it, i.e. a bunch of money to spend. So all recreation pretty much went out the window. And I haven't snowboarded since. And I seriously would like to snowboard. I'm a little worried though, because I have some back problems now. That, I don't have insurance. I don't want to hurt myself. Alright, so we're coming up to this place in the road where historically you turn off the radio and you don't talk out of respect for the mountain or people that died putting up the road. Not quite sure. So technically, it's in between those two rock things right there, which I don't really know the significance of all that. And I think I've talked about it before. So anyway, but that's something that I picked up from snowboarding. That's pretty much the story, my life story of winter sports. Not the only sports I've ever done, but as an adult, I would say sporting activities have been mostly snowboarding. And I miss it. Hopefully to get back to it soon. Like and subscribe. And have a wonderful day.